And Clayton.
Clayton. He's so funny. We're so excited you guys are here. Thank you for joining in. And okay, so we're just going to start out with real quick medical disclaimer, right? So we are not your doctor or physician. This is informational and educational, and that's it. We are not your doctor. So if you have any medical questions or concerns, please reach out to your physician. But we are here just to give you some great information, some research guidance, etc. So, and of course, joining us today is Clayton, founder of Root, our favorite guy, our favorite Tuesday guest. Yes, you, Clayton. So we're super excited to have him here as always. Today we are going to cover MTHFR and just anything that kind of comes that way.
So I want to say that this is probably a lot of information that majority of you have not known before. So keep an open mind. We're going to be bringing you a lot of suppressed information that, how do we say it? That, I don't know how to say it. We'll get into it and you'll understand. It'll all come together and everything as we go. So there's going to be a big knowledge drop here. So be prepared for that.
It's a different mindset than most people have when it comes to MTHFR. So
yes,
absolutely. And listen to the way that it's coming for you.
Yes, absolutely. So we all know, we've all heard of MTHFR, and we all know that it's a methylation SNP out of our DNA and different things that happen. But what a lot of people don't realize is that if you pull up MTHFR, that doesn't mean you have MTHFR. It actually goes below that, or above that, I should say. So that's kind of what we're going to discuss today, is bringing you guys the information behind MTHFR and really what is going on in the body and the cause of it. So you can stop having to go to all of these different vitamin shops and everything and getting all of this stuff that really isn't, it's more of a Band-Aid. So I know that we've talked before, there's a difference between, or there's really no difference between the vitamin industry and big pharma, as far as they're just there to put a Band-Aid on it and just trying to sell you stuff to keep you needing it is what it is. So we are here to give you guys some information, some education, so that you know what's going on in your body, so that we can really get to what is going on with the root cause, so you can remove it and then you don't have it anymore. So, oh, you're on mute.
I know I'm muted. I was letting you guys have the floor. Is it not rare that if you remove what's causing the problem, that the symptoms can't persist? What kind of like debauchery and horrible thought process is that if you eliminate what causes the issue, that you would not have the issue? I mean, who would ever think this? Why are you guys doing this? Let's have fun.
We do. we think this all the time.
This is for entertainment. This is for entertainment purposes, not just educational, but for entertainment. Because if you're not entertained, you're probably not going to listen. And honestly, as we said, there's no doctors here. I was banned from being a doctor long ago. And
you might want to clarify that was your parents, right?
My dad banned me from being a doctor, so it's really important. But these opinions, right? And that's all we have. It doesn't matter who you go to. If you go see a physician, he or she, actually it's pretty common to become a doctor, so the proper term is he. If it was a specialist, you would say she. But when you go see a practitioner of any kinds, or if you go use a reference, you're getting an opinion. So it's important to cross-reference all of your opinions that you can receive, do some analysis on your own, so you can come up with your own opinion.
Mm-hmm.
So what you're going to see is some opinions. Granted, mine's been developed over 40 years. And, especially when it comes to the MTHFR conversation, and which really comes down to environmental toxicology, it's been developed over the last 16, 17 years. But proceed. Let's see where we can go.
And I'm right there with you. So I am going to say that my knowledge of MTHFR has developed over the last 5 or 6 years. And I went from what I thought I needed to what we really needed at work. So I'm excited to hear more.
So here's my first question. For you guys, what is MTHFR? Why is it important? Because it's an abbreviation for one of my favorite terms, but I might be using it wrong. Mother! Is that the right one, or is there a different meaning?
And there's the entertainment value.
So
right, hit us out.
It's kind of, it's touted as a methylation issue. So it's a methylation, they say in your detox pathways. To methylate, they have 2 different SNP bits, C667 or T.
A.
Huh?
A.
Or A, yes, thank you, yes. So it just, that's what they name it. So it's just a variation of what they call what is going on in your body, being able to methylate, being able to get rid of toxicity. A lot of it has to do with glutathione or the CMT gene and everything. But honestly, all it comes down to is what we love to talk about in Detox Girls is epigenetics. So if you guys haven't heard epigenetics yet, there's a post on it, but we are going to be talking about that today and what is the real cause behind that. So, and it's just, it's an expression of what's going on in the body is what it really is. I think it's been touted and given a platform MTHFR has that it doesn't really deserve. And I know a lot of people aren't going to like that, but that's kind of what it is because it's misunderstood. So that's kind of what we're doing today.
I love it. Thank you.
So what you're saying is that every one of us as a human is innately made to heal, regenerate, and clean ourselves innately, how we're created. But what you're implying is that it might be our environment and things that are going on inside our body that might inhibit that process?
100%. So actually they say that there is going to actually environmental toxicity, if we could get into that really quick. They actually say the numbers right now, or as of last year, show that there's over 50 tons of mercury that's deposited into the atmosphere every year. That's not including anything else. That's just the amount that's deposited because of what we use and everything as humans on the earth. That amount of toxicity has a huge impact on the body.
Right. So, and everybody is exposed to it.
Does it have an impact on the environment as well?
Yes. So
yep.
from
I
the
ask
feelings.
A question into that, because you said 50
yep.
tons a year of
Nope.
new exposure. What's the half-life of mercury?
I didn't hear you. What?
What is the half-life of mercury?
Actually, I don't know that. What is it?
There isn't one.
Oh, well, that's why I didn't know.
Chemical. If it's in the environment, it's going to constantly be toxic. So, and when you said into the atmosphere, are you saying that there's mercury in the water supplies, in the soil, and in the air?
Yep.
Like above us?
Yep. Everywhere.
Right. So everybody is exposed to it and nobody's immune.
Yep.
And isn't it something that's passed from mother into fetus?
Oh, yes. That is a huge thing because mercury is one of the hardest things to get out of the body. It's one of the hardest things to remove. It's also one of the hardest things to detect on toxicity tests and everything like that. And it actually, so whenever a mother gets pregnant, the egg that is used has all of the DNA, everything that it's ever going to need to build that human. Whenever the mother is starting to develop in her mother. So you actually get a lot of your DNA and epigenetics from your grandmother. Does that make sense? Did I say that right? I think that made sense to everybody. So whenever that comes into contact, so you have generations of different exposures to things. And what we learned through epigenetics is that different things in your body can be turned on and off through the gene expression because of that toxicity. So you have generation of toxicity of different things, especially mercury. I know that's a hot spot. It's the one that actually most people don't talk about. Everybody's worried about aluminum, which is still, worrisome. We're not saying that it has any less weight or anything, but people don't talk about mercury toxicity very much. They don't know that in order to know if your hypothalamus is mercury toxic, you can't do a heavy metal test. You actually have to do a biopsy of the hypothalamus.
Oh, and how do you do a biopsy?
Yeah.
On the table, flat on your back.
Right.
And tissue samples. And I
Yep.
think most people are reluctant to do tissue samples while living.
Yeah. Yeah.
So here's a couple other questions or comments to go along with that. So mercury is the worst neurotoxin known to man. It is the second most deadly chemical besides the radioactive isotopes, second only to dioxin, right? As far as the most deadly. Yet it's heavily prevalent in us, put in us in a multitude of factors. You're exposed to it, and like all exposed to it, you're exposed to it starting in the womb.
Yep.
It shuts off methylation and shuts off glutathione production. So the most deadly neurotoxin, heavy metal known to man, is so evil that it actually shuts off the body's ability to get rid of it.
Yes.
So let me lead this to you guys, and I'll let you answer, and then we can bounce this back and forth. If the worst heavy metal neurotoxin, second most deadly chemical known, that's prevalent in all of us in different amounts, shuts off glutathione production, which is, as you'll hear from many people, the master antioxidant, which the body produces if functioning properly, and shuts off proper methylation, which would be an indication would be made by genetic expression of MTHFR, which would basically be a signal, a red flag being raised that you are really freaking toxic.
Yep.
What's the problem? Is it that you have MTHFR issues because there's a red flag raised? Or is it because you're freaking mercury poisoned?
Yep. Bingo.
Right. Right. So everybody that you talk to, not everybody, most people that you talk to, they come from it as there's a gene issue, but it is what's causing the gene issue that's the problem. So it's not that you have an MTHFR problem, you have a mercury problem.
Yes. Yes.
Correct. And you can speak the same thing to cancer. We don't have a cancer problem. What we have are toxic people whose genes, P21, P27, and P53, which are tumor suppressor genes, don't work properly. Therefore, abnormal cells become abnormal. They proliferate and tell other cells, other healthy cells, to be like them, and they create tumors and cancer. So
exactly.
The problem.
And
the
what
problem
activates that? What activates that P21?
Or what deactivates it?
Sorry. Yes.
It gets back to epigenetics and genetic expression.
Right.
What causes that genetic expression to have those genes inactive? That would be the same thing that causes MTHFR genes to be inactive.
Right. Toxicity.
It's funny that these toxic heavy metals like mercury turn off all of the properly functioning genes that keep you healthy.
Mm-hmm.
So your methylation genes, your glutathione production are turned off. Your tumor suppressor genes are turned off. And those same heavy metals cause a cascade of risk for inflammation, for fungus, for mold, for yeast growth all throughout your body. One cause, the expression of many issues.
Yep. Absolutely.
So the goal is to remove those toxins, which we've talked about in the last couple of weeks, and we've been really saying in our group a lot. Clean slate will remove those toxins. I'm not sure. I think that might be my mic.
Oh, okay. That's okay. I could take over if you want. That's okay. So that's what we need to do. So you can actually control how your body heals itself. And it's actually fairly simple. Like Jill said, you control it by removing those toxicities, those heavy metals, the glyphosate that's damaging your DNA and everything. And how you do that, and the number one that we have found is Clean Slate, because of how it works in the body. So, and I know we've talked about it before, but just a little overview of what Clean Slate does. It actually, it's originally, it is a ultra clean zeolite that is taken, and it is been masterminded by Dr. Christina, who is Clayton's beautiful wife, his bride. Absolute genius woman. And what she has done is she's actually been able to, because of the high silica that is in the actual clenoptenolite that Clean Slate uses, which is 66% silica, and it's 97% pure clenoptenolite, 3% bentonite clay. It's the purest form that they have found to date. And so what Dr. Christina does is she has taken it and she's been able to use the silica that's in it because of its cleanliness and because of its purity. She's been able to use that to unlock the silica so that it's bioavailable to the body, which gives you the silica you need for all types of healing, for your bones, for everything, but also for collagen production. So then what it does also is we use a natural form of vitamin C. And it actually allows the zeolite to go into the cell through the vitamin C receptor. So it's actually literally is a cellular detox.
Don't forget the trace minerals.
Yes, I was about to get to that. Yes. And so because it can go into the cell, what is also used is sea salts for huge amounts of bioavailable minerals, trace minerals, to go into the cell too. So not only is it removing the toxicity out of the cell, the mitochondria waste and everything like that, it is able to remove the mercury that's in the cell, because what happens to the body is the body will actually start absorbing that mercury because it's so toxic, and so that it doesn't recirculate, and it'll go into your bones, into your fat tissue, and all of that in order to protect your organs. Then whenever that gets over toxified over time, and everybody's threshold is different, then it gets stored in the organs and everything, and that creates the gene expressions that we know as MTHFR. So it's very cyclical. It all works together, but it all stems from the fact that the toxicities, such as mercury, especially in this case, is getting into the cell and causing those gene mutations and those expressions to be turned on or off, depending on what it is. And so that's what Clean Slate is. It goes in there, it helps remove those things, but it also gives the body its ability to fight back and to start healing. And like Jill and I have been able to see on the biofeedback machines, is we can actually see people's MTHFRs going on and off. And whenever it does, you can see the toxicities that they have currently in their body, and you can tell which toxicity is turning the gene on and off. So somebody can have it, to where their MTHFR is doing amazing, and then they go sit in their car with their brother who has one of those car freshener thingies, and then all of a sudden their MTHFR is activated and they start getting sick again. So these are the different things that you see that work. And so whenever you understand how the body works, you can understand what the cause is. You can actually start to remove the cause, and your body will do what God created it to do, which is to naturally heal, because He created us not to die. We're not supposed to get sick and die. It's all of this environmental stuff. So whenever you give it what it needs, then your body will do what God created it to do, because that's what it was made for.
Perfect.
Is that okay?
Perfect. Yay, Shannon gets an A+ for that. Amazing. So I'm going to jump in and say that I know a lot of people get hung up on, I want to get tested.
To hit on one additional component.
Yeah. Go ahead, Clayton.
No, hold on. I'm almost to my location. So you keep going. I have a couple minutes.
Okay. So one of the biggest questions I get is, how can I get tested? Where can I get tested? And it's a decision that you have to make if you want to have a baseline, if you want to get tested. A lot of people do like to do that. Some don't. Some don't have the money to allocate towards testing and a solution. Often it comes down to Clean Slate is a widespread detoxifier. So it really doesn't matter what the basis is. If you are heavy metal toxic, whether that's mercury, aluminum, lead, copper, if you're heavy metal toxic, it's better to get started. Get on cleanslate, get on the Trinity, and get started in your healing. If you can't afford to do that, to do the testing, or you don't have a doctor that will write for it, or you can only pick one thing, pick the direction of the solution. Start healing.
And another thing that I didn't mention before that just came to mind is the reason why you need the sea salt in the trace mineral is very, very important, because especially mercury, since we're talking about mercury, we'll take that specifically. What it does is it actually displaces magnesium in the body. So the body will absorb mercury in place of magnesium because it thinks that it's magnesium. So whenever that happens, the body does not want to let go of the mercury. And that's why some detox things can actually be very dangerous, because the body doesn't have the support to replace the mercury, because it thinks it's letting go of magnesium. Magnesium is huge for O2 distribution throughout the body, through muscle reflex and extension and contraction and everything like that. It's one of the vital minerals that your body absolutely needs, and you need more than just the normal cation exchange that zeolite does. Because of the amount of toxicity that is in your body, it needs those higher amounts of trace minerals, so the body doesn't go into freak out mode thinking that you're removing its minerals. So it's very, very, very important, because of how heavy metals work in the body. It's very important to choose the right thing to remove those heavy metals, if that makes sense.
And it actually creates it without doing what we're doing. And this was learned in process of formulating different products in this space and watching how they perform, but even watching Clean Slate perform initially before Christina wanted to add the trace minerals, because we made clear to people that they needed to supplement with trace minerals with the original version of Clean Slate, because of the ability to prevent what's called mineral gapping.
Yes.
That's the term that's used to explain exactly what you guys are talking about.
We lost you, Clayton.
I'm going to jump in while he's not there, because that's okay. That's something that I did not know of, and this is something that I've learned in the last probably 2 to 3 months.
Am I here?
I can hear
you.
We
don't see you.
That's what I get for having people call me. Okay. Hold on. I'll be right back.
Okay.
So that's something that I've learned a lot about in the last 2 months, is the importance of minerals, and without them, what it can do to your body. So it's a pretty fast repercussion of not having minerals in your body, but it's also a pretty fast recovery from it. So it's something that I've been struggling with, but I've been able to come back from fairly quickly.
Yes. And because if you look at what a mineral does in the body, and you see how it works in the body and what the body needs that mineral for, and then you look at what the heavy metal toxicity is, like let's just say mercury, the functions that magnesium give to the body, mercury takes those away. So you'll see a deficiency in those functions, if that makes sense. Like magnesium is electrical. It's an electrical mineral that helps carry things throughout the body. It works in the meridian lines and everything like that. So whenever you don't have that, guess what happens? You don't have that electrical frequency in the body, because our bodies are like batteries. You don't have that electrical frequency. Your meridian lines are blocked. You don't have the ability to do a lot of those functions. You don't have a lot of the oxygen delivery within the body and different things like in that realm. Then you look at it and you're like, oh, I'm mercury toxic. So you take away the mercury, guess what you get back? You get back the magnesium, but you have to have the magnesium because your body's been deficient for so long because it had mercury instead.
And if you're not aware, the very first thing you need to do every morning is you need your trace minerals and a big glass of water. That will get your body started. Like Anna said, our bodies are electrical. So we need water and trace minerals. Start your day out with clean slate that has trace minerals. Get rid of the toxins, add in the trace minerals, add a glass of water, and get your electrical system started every morning.
Yes. I'm going to add a picture. I have a picture, and I'll add it in the comments of all of the supplements, even whole food that I used to take, that doing the Trinity has replaced. It's astounding.
Oh.
So I'll add that in the comments. But go ahead, Clayton.
Hold on, I'm going to get situated. There we go. I'm in one location finally.
Yay!
As we get to charge the car. So you guys hit on a couple things that are, I think, important to hit on. One, the trace mineral standpoint. But I got a message from you guys yesterday, and you've been on a journey of perfection, of fostering your flock, right? So of the community that you guys have built, of these amazing, mostly women. As most great things are done by groups of women, not by men. It's funny how that works. But you guys have gone through a process of studying, of working with different products, different ingredients to try to improve outcomes. And I got a couple voice messages yesterday, comparatively from how Clean Slate is functioning compared to things that had been using in the past. Talk to me a little bit about that, because that's going to lead to further conversation on some of these issues.
He's going to make us show our heart.
I know.
It might not go well.
That's right.
Okay. So it's been weighing very heavily on Shanna and I. I'm already starting to cry, just so you know. It's been weighing very hard on us, very heavy on our hearts. See, Clayton's going to make us say it. Our research, we've been with you guys over a year now. Shanna and I started with a group of 2, she and I. We added on our favorite person who's now our ex, so we're going to give a little props to Laura here real quick. But we've had a lot of learning along the way. We've done a lot of research. We have tried our hardest to bring everything to you guys that's right and accurate and the best that we can find. But that doesn't mean that there isn't more research out there and that we can't find better information. And if we're going to bring that to our families, we have to bring that to our community, because you guys are our family too. And Shanna and I have really been struggling with this. And I think Clayton's been the sounding board for us. We've had some tears. We've had some real heart-to-hearts. It's been really difficult. And he's smiling because he knows he's got the back end of it. He knows it, but it's been really hard. We feel like we didn't, it's not that we didn't bring you the best information. We brought you the best that we had at the time. And I'm proud of us because we have found better. And we've brought that to you too. It's just very difficult to think that.
Well,
Yeah.
It's important, and I'll speak for the community from someone who's an outsider from what you guys have done, to speak to the level of empathy, the level of responsibility that both of you have maintained through our conversations, because I'm kind of a disruptor, right? We all know that now. And I really don't give a shit what people think. And my experience creates my opinions. And if my opinions are based on my experience and I have consistent experiences over decades, it leads to my opinions being well-founded in what I've seen. But a lot of times it's contrary to what other people want to promote. And watching how you guys have taken this process so personally, because of how responsible you are for how you serve those around you, is something that is not only commendable, but is something that needs to be lifted up, and also something that I think like 3,000, 4,000 people in this group need to understand, that the two of you are willing to continually research to find what's best, not only to take care of yourselves and to take care of your kids and take care of your family, but the larger family, because family is not just blood, right? A lot of times there's there's more love and constitution in the family that is not blood than the family that is blood. And the approach that you guys have is very similar to the approach that Christina and I have, because we are undaunting and uncompromising in quality. And it's a really, really important piece to understand that with the decisions that we make internally, whether it's from business approach, if it's a management approach, if it's a philosophical basis, or it's a product design, product production standpoint, we are uncompromising in quality. We don't follow trends, we make them. And it's one of those key points that we've chatted about over the last week or two, because of the MLM spreading of, new mineral supplements and, getting stuff from the ground and saying that it's all great and everything because they can make a lot of money with it. Yet we use sea salt as our trace minerals. And here's why. Because I don't think at any point the human body's been made of dirt. The human body's made of water. And if you need fluids, you're given saline, which is basically seawater. And the trace minerals that we need come in that form. They don't come in the form of dirt. They come in the form of sea-based trace minerals. And granted, it's really good to sell the hype around things. Oh, wow, this is new. Sorry, it's not new. I've been studying humics and fulvics and trace minerals since I was 8 years old. It's not a new subject. And here's what's really important to understand is if these new things that are new to you, that are not new to the scientific community, if they held validity and they held levels of compliance and outcomes greater than what was already there, they would have already been used heavily, right? And that's where clinoptilolite is so unique, is it's only been used heavily for over 5,000 years. We just figured out how to make it better. And it's so crucial. There's no more crying. This is happy time. But it's important to know that you have a community of amazing people here that are focused on doing what's best and getting better every day. You tell your kids to make their bed, right? We do the same thing, whether you're a parent, whether you're an executive, whether you're an athlete, we try to get better every day. That's really our premise, our focus, our foundation, is very simply doing it. So having these foundational principles in a process that's been proven, over, for me, 40 years, for Christina, 20 or so years around biotech and pharma and nutrition and bioscience engineering and nanotechnology, and bringing all of these things together, that you now have a community that is focused from a company, from a product perspective, but also from an outside community perspective of amazing researchers and moms, and primarily women. I'll make it really clear. It's the women that are driving everything, right? They are the ones making all the decisions to actually better society. Guys, we've done a really good job of screwing shit up over the last 100 years. Well, let's get out of the way and let the women take over, because they will do what's best to take care of families, and that's what makes community, is family. And if improvements are needed, or if better products come about, there's a couple things that you do. You add them, or you swap things out, or as a company, you improve. Because if you're uncompromising in outcomes, then you're constantly tinkering. You want to make sure that what you're doing is the best available. And I can say my wife is probably the best at that because of her background, having Lyme disease when she was 19, dealing with cancer since the age of 26, and having a brain tumor and a spinal tumor and a myriad of different cancers, and losing one kid to cancer, and having a master's in science and a PhD and a PsyD and an EDD and a postdoc at Harvard in nanotechnology and bioscience engineering and Cornell and 2 more things, and being an adjunct professor at Johns Hopkins in oncology. and learning throughout her life that with all of her health challenges, she's been able to conquer, having a biotech background, having a pharma background, everything she needed to do when she was taking care of herself or her kids, of which there are 4, and me. So that's like having 8 kids. That she's always skewed to the natural route, the non-allopathic, approach. And you don't hear many guys have that kind of background, right? Because they won't. Guys, we would have quit. You give a guy cancer, they're like, okay, I'll just die. You give a guy multiple types of cancer, like, I can't handle this. You give a woman cancer the first time when she has twins, and is told, okay, yeah, one of the babies is now a tumor because you have a partial molar pregnancy. That kid is dead. It's cancer. And you have to have a medical abortion in order to save yourself, because if you don't, you can't stop the cancer from spreading. And there's a 99.99% chance that the kid will either die or is going to have major health problems. So you need to have a medical abortion. It takes a different species to say, no, I'm not doing that. I'll be fine. I'll take care of myself and I'll take care of my baby. And to opt to have cancer riddled through her body for 9 months while carrying her first son. Guys wouldn't do that. That's why we follow women. And that's why I'm really passionate about, one, protecting my wife with what she's meant to do, which is what led us here, but allowing her to do what she's supposed to do, which is create solutions for humanity. And she's really, really good at it. So we get back to our roots. So I just want to say thank you for both of you guys, because you're doing amazing stuff, whether you're crying or not. But this is emotional, right? Because it's a family thing. It's about taking care of people. The people that you don't talk to, or that you choose not. Let me make sure I phrase this properly. The people that you choose.
Cliffhanger.
Oh no!
You got another phone call.
Oh no! Oh,
Yeah.
I wasn't for that. Okay.
I'm back. I made it.
Try it again.
So the people you choose not to be of service to are going to have an interesting history going forward, because of what's been put in our environment, what's been put in people for the last 60, 70 years, and how this game is playing out. And you can choose to be healthy and amazing now, or you can choose to be a victim of your environment. You choose.
Well said.
And that's the game now. It is nothing more than that. You can be a victim of your environment, or you can conquer it. And I will tell you, and this is not just from being the owner of the company and such, but we are at the forefront of making people amazing and making sure that you are, I won't say 0% chance, but you have the most diminished chance of being a victim of your environment and being the most outstanding human being you're capable of becoming. And granted, it's not something that is done immediately. You've been poisoned since you were in the womb. And the process to get to absolutely outstanding, amazing development, whether it's physically, spiritually, mentally, emotionally, is a process. And you might not like some of it. And it's a bitch. But getting through it is the opportunity to look back and go, it was one hell of a journey. And it's nice to be a different person now, to be better, to not be burdened by the things that you carry with you. A lot of the things are so deep, especially the emotional and the spiritual component, that you have them so locked away that you try not to think about them. They're locked in a box, and they're radioactive. So while you put them in a box, they're still irradiating and causing freaking chaos. But they're so hot to your body, you've never wanted to deal with them. And maybe you were never in a position in your life where you actually had the ability to deal with them. I'll tell you, you remove the mercury, you put your body in balance spiritually and physically, which is some of the stuff that we're doing. And granted, don't take it from me, take it from Dr. Stefan Rao, who's a PhD, an immunologist, a virologist, a medical technologist. He did the research himself with patients to look at what these products were doing in the human body and showing how you can make yourself a decade, 15 years younger in a matter of minutes. But the process is something that once started, you don't quit, because you don't ever want to stop getting younger.
Right.
If you could be like Benjamin Button, you could. If you could get younger as you get older, that's a trade you would make. It's here. That's what we're doing, and we've proven it. We proved it last week when he came out with his data and showing, okay, this is what we're seeing. So
and we'll link that video in the comments for everybody. I know we have it in the guides, but we'll put it in the comments as well, so it's easily accessible, because that was phenomenal.
Right.
So I applaud the two of you for what you're doing. And for all of these people that you serve, I blame you for taking responsibility. Good job.
Thank you.
There's no crying on podcasts.
Well, I don't think Shanna and I were prepared for talking about our recent heartfelt talks, but that's okay.
That's what people need to hear. They don't need to hear bullshit. Guess what? People can go on the rest of YouTube or on Facebook and get plenty of bullshit. What people need is authenticity and integrity and the ability to just call things as they are. And if something's shit, it won't float, right? But in today's world of people wanting reality, right? They want reality TV, but most of what you get on television, we know, is programming, and it's all bullshit. So just be real, right? If you're here to help people, be open about it. You know, if you're upset over companies selling bullshit to you with the claims of, oh, this is this great business opportunity, you can do this and make a lot of money and sell this and do that and do that, and they talk about how these products are great, but as you do your research, you find that they might not be congruent with what they're claiming, change it. It's not your fault. I mean, if you find out that what we're doing is bullshit and the products don't work, don't buy them. Period. That's why we created an approach that is solely focused on customer-driven sales. No hype, no bullshit. If the products don't work, we have to change them because our consumers won't stick around. Right. That's how the rest of real life works. If you don't create value, you will not be valued and you will not be rewarded for it. Simple premise. And it's nice to be able to work with people that follow that same mantra, right? You guys are so focused on service that you want to be uncompromising in the quality and value that you can provide your community. And it's absolute. And you can't feel bad about having other people try to sell concepts to that medium, right? But you guys have done a phenomenal job of saying, hey, look, we've seen this, these can be beneficial, but hey, maybe this isn't as good as what it's claimed to be. And, you know, there's a lot of people that are going to learn that here really quickly over some of the other things that are being marketed to them in mineral supplements. And they're like, wait a minute, I get these results quickly. I'm like, yeah, you might see changes, some benefits early on. But what you'll see over an extended period of time is a lot of things you might not want. Okay, so it's commendable. You guys are doing amazing things. That's why I love hanging out with you guys, because you guys invest in people, and I'm in the same business. We invest heavily in people. Right? It's better than Bitcoin.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes. Yes. Yeah. Okay. So I don't know if we have any questions. I'm verklempt. But I appreciate everything Clayton has to say, and he's been with us. He talks to us on a daily basis, puts up with us, puts up with our questions and our concerns, and making sure that we have all the best information, all the best research. His wife is just, I mean, seriously, talk about somebody that is like, I'm fangirl over. It doesn't get much better than that. He is too. Look at the face.
Yes.
He is too.
I'm just here to be of service.
So I think we've gotten through everything we wanted to get through today. If anybody has any questions, I don't think there's anything pending at the moment.
Right.
If we have questions, go ahead and put them below. I know this time frame, a lot of people are at work and with their kids, so they're going to catch it on the replay. Go ahead and ask questions below, and
Yep.
Thank you so much. Oh, and if you are wanting more of Clayton, if you haven't gotten enough entertainment for the day, in our comments is a link where he will be in about 20 minutes. You can join him.
Yep, with Dr. Dory.
Dr. Dory, right. Oh my goodness. And don't forget, we will link that Dr. Rao YouTube, Dr. Dory and Dr. Rao in this comment as well. We have it in the guides as well. I mean, it's probably posted 5 or 6 times within the group, but we will post it in the comments here as well.
Yep.
It's amazing.
Yes. Thank you, everybody. We love you all.
Love you. Bye.